All right, so probably one of the most important uh, things I teach with clients is actually something that I've been talking to people about for decades, which is that we need to create a feeling of safety. We need to address underlying fears if we ever want to make any kind of progress. And that relates to progress on a project or a collaboration in a workplace setting, but it also relates to progress in a relationship. It relates to progress in your own personal goals, in the inner growth and transformation that you want personally. And I find that the science behind this is particularly compelling and inspiring. So I'm going to share a little bit about that science today. The basic idea behind the scientific mechanisms, the biological mechanisms that make safety, a feeling of safety, so important, is that when our brain decides that we are in some kind of danger, we are actually cut off from the higher order thinking and problem solving skills in our brains. So the part of our brains that assesses safety is the limbic region, which is sort of a middle region of the brain. It takes in inputs from the external environment, and then it assesses them against a variety of memories and present moment experiences to decide whether I'm safe. If it determines that there's a reason to be afraid, it knocks out the connection between what's happening right now and the centers of our brain that are up here, the prefrontal cortex region of the brain that's responsible for logical and orderly thinking, creativity, problem solving of all kinds, the things that we would describe as rational thinking. So when someone says like, this person's being unreasonable or unpredictable, or this person is being inflexible and won't hear another perspective, or when this person's fighting like an old battle and not really listening to what's happening right now, these are the kinds of things that people would come and tell me. Even in my traditional corporate career, this would happen a lot. People who worked for me would come, they'd be working diligently to get a project moved forward or work completed, and they would, bring roadblocks, right? That's what you'd bring to your manager, is like, this is an area where I'm stuck. And so often, that area of stuck was like, I feel like I can't get through to this person. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what I do. Like, it feels like there's an impasse. There's a block between what I think is pretty practical and what they're willing to hear, right? Or maybe even what the whole department's willing to hear. And so this is always a clue that we're working around issues of safety, and that the roadblock gets removed when a feeling of safety resumes. Because once we feel safe, we start to engage the parts of our brain that consider, multiple possibilities and a mix of practical and optimistic scenarios. And, all of a sudden we get a whole world opens up to us in terms of what can be accomplished. So anytime we're feeling really stuck, and you may even start, if you start to notice this, just areas of stuckness, like I'm repeating a pattern in the interaction I'm having with my daughter, right? Or areas of stuckness, like I keep having this same conversation again and again with my partner, or areas of stuckness, like I'm trying to move this project forward, and I feel like we're in a loop, like we can't get past this one spot, really, in making a change. It's a great prompt to, first of all, check in with yourself. Like, what fear do you have about the situation? And then second, after that, to check in, what fears might other people be having right now about this situation? And see how that progresses the situation forward. Like, just even having that perspective might progress the situation forward in some way, right? The other thing is just to name that when you ask that question about, like, am I feeling safe, or what might I be afraid of? Or is this person feeling safe, or what might they be afraid of? Remember that the fear is not necessarily logical, right? The fear is governed by a very primal area of the brain. And so, for example, I remember, working in a time of outsourcing, right? Where, outsourcing was something that was happening consistently in different types of operational departments and processing type of departments. And often anytime you brought up questions about efficiency or how do we improve efficiency, it would create fears about outsourcing. And even if you directly said, hey, we have no plans to outsource this function, and meant that quite sincerely, like that you had no indication that was even on the table anywhere in the organization, the fear that outsourcing might happen could still be alive for the team, right? Like, that fear existed even if rationally they understood that it didn't apply to them. It was a fear that was sort of floating around at that moment in time, right? Professionally. So keep in mind that when you ask the question about, is there safety or is there fear here, that you're not looking for a fear that makes sense. You're just asking, like, could there be a fear here that's influencing how we're looking at the problem and how we're thinking about the issue? So give that a try, explore the situations that you're in, and see if you can notice what kinds of fears are showing up either in yourself or in other people. All right, good luck. Talk soon.